I think it's fair to say that I totally stick out like a sore thumb here in Italy. And it's not just for the obvious fact that I'm from London, but there are a few other factors that really make me different to those people around me. So first and foremost, we've got my height to contend with. So I'm 5'11", 6 foot. Thereabouts, depending on the shoes that I choose to wear, which means that I typically tend to tower above the majority of people who live here in South Italy. Now, it's nice to know that sometimes I do come across the odd Italian person who is the same height as me or taller, which is a miracle because I have those fleeting moments of actually feeling short. But generally speaking, being tall here isn't common. Most Italians are kind of average to short in terms of height. So this is the first major difference. I do find that it's very difficult for me to be discreet because there I go, you can see me everywhere. The second major difference that there is with me and those around me happens to be my skin tone. So you can see here, I'm sitting here in the middle of July as white as Casper. And as you know, I haven't been able to go to the beach at all this year so far because of our new puppy. I'll link the video up here if you want to see her and understand what's going on with her. So it has meant that I don't normally have my lovely tanned hue, which I have started to get living here in Italy. So this year I'm very much rocking my British look. And it does get to the point sometimes where I think it's so obvious that I don't come from this country, because when I go into a shop and before I've even opened my mouth, the people in the shop are speaking to me in English. So it's very obvious that I am not Italian when my skin is this shade. I will say though, it becomes a little less obvious when I have tan and people are a little bit on the fence, maybe for my colouring, as to whether or not I'm Italian or not. So as I am in my raw form here, I am definitely very much British and very different to those around me. The other obvious difference comes down to my pronunciation. So in those moments where I'm brave enough to speak in Italian, my pronunciation is ropey to say the least. I cannot roll my R's. I have real difficulty remembering that the I and E sounds between English and Italian are different, and I just cannot wrap my head around the fact that Italians pronounce every single letter, whereas in English we tend to either eat the letters or we don't pronounce them at all. So it really is quite something when I'm trying to say something in Italian and people just cannot understand me because my pronunciation is so bad. So there are quite a few things that set me apart from those around me, not to mention the fact that I have a totally different mindset. I'm super precise, punctual, I like to be organised. Qualities that not every Italian person actually has here in South Italy. Of course, this is a very generalised statement. There will always be exceptions to the rule. But generally speaking, I think I break the balls of a lot of people here because I like things to be done when they say they're going to be done, and I don't believe in doppeldomani. So these are all of the qualities that totally set me apart from Italian people and from those around me. But here's why I actually embrace that and don't care anymore, because I've come to realise that this is me. Now, when I first moved to Italy in 2018, I really went through a period of trying to fully embrace my new life to the point where I lost my own identity. I was trying to emulate living life as an Italian person and trying to kind of shed all of my British heritage and roots, to the point where after I'd become a little bit fed up of the fact that people really had difficulty in pronouncing my name here. In fact, even to this day, people will call me Clea instead of Claire. There is a difference. I was like, well, you know, why don't I just refer to myself now as the Italian version of my name, Chiara? And when I was living back in Salerno, we had some big name day celebration thing, and we did this kind of mock baptism with my friends where I renamed myself Chiara, the Italian version of my name. But then a few months rolled by and I was like, this isn't me. And one thing that I've really learned when you live in another country is that you have to always be authentic and true to yourself. There is no point putting on this fake front for other people, because you always feel it within yourself. You always feel that you are not in alignment with who you are as a person. And that is what slowly dawned on me with this whole Chiara nickname that I'd given myself. And so, you know, a few months later, I just was like, do you know what? I'm British. Who am I kidding? And I've referred to myself as Claire ever since, because that is who I am. And I'm actually even more proud of my roots today than perhaps I've ever been in the past. But I think it's this. I think there is a period when you move to another country where you undoubtedly lose yourself. You forget who you are. You do your best to fit in. You want to be accepted. You want to make friends. You don't want to be the odd one out or the person that everybody stares at because you're so different. But the reality is that these things will happen at various points and in different ways throughout your time here in Italy. And you've just got to accept that and embrace it. And you know, the way I think of it now is that I don't care if I get strange looks from people because of my height or my pronunciation or whatever it may be. The fact is, I've been brave enough to move to another country and start my life over and work and do this YouTube thing and really create something for myself here in Italy, when a lot of people who live here would never have the same foresight or mindset to do the same thing. And that is why I've really learned to embrace who I am here and not to let the small-mindedness of certain people affect my confidence and my outlook on myself. And I say this especially with the way that I manage myself when it comes to my organisation, to my mindset, to the way that I kind of view things when it comes to work and it comes to like bureaucracy and things like this. I am very meticulous with my paperwork and just in general with the work that I produce. And I'm proud of that. And I never want to change that, because sometimes the quality of work that I see here is sloppy at best, and there is nothing worse, in my personal opinion, than work that is done to a really shoddy standard. I much prefer to be this way, to be precise, to have my boundaries, because it makes me happy and because this is how I've always been, and I don't want to have to change that aspect of myself just because the environment around me and the culture around me isn't used to it. And I think this is something, because I speak about acceptance in a lot of videos that I've previously recorded about adapting to life as an expat here in Italy. And I truly believe that, yes, you have to have acceptance. You can't change what you can't change, right? But it doesn't mean that you have to lose who you are as a person. You can accept things for the sake of your mental health and for the sake of your well-being, because there is absolutely no sense in stressing over the details that you have no control over. But when it comes to like your own core values and beliefs, I don't believe that you necessarily have to change those unless it is negatively impacting your life here in Italy. That would be the only time when I would say maybe sit, reassess how you're thinking and feeling, and even reassess if this is the right country for you to live in. That would be the only moment when I think that you really need to kind of change who you are as a person. Adapt is key to be able to adapt. Accept, yes, you have to be able to accept what you have going on around you. But when it comes to like who you are as a person, it is about embracing that and not feeling afraid or ashamed or embarrassed to be who you are in Italy. And this has been the biggest thing. Like, starting this YouTube channel for me way back in 2021 was my chance to find myself again. And this came on the back of this whole Chiara renaming moment. And I realized that I just needed to get back to who I was. And these videos have helped me to do just that. I've been able to express myself in my own language, sharing my experiences, and being Claire, also known as Ms Britaly. And this has made me feel so much better. In fact, I've probably never felt more grounded than I do sitting here right now filming this video. And it's been a journey, it really has. But I truly believe that embracing who I am, in spite of the many differences that I have compared to the people around me, has made me feel a lot happier. And you know, I've always said it and I will continue to say it, everyone is our teacher. You know, I can learn so much from the differences from the people around me. Like, people here teach me to relax more. I'm definitely a workaholic. I'm one of those people that doesn't often know when to stop. At the moment, the heat is forcing me to stop because I find it so difficult to be motivated when it's like really, really warm. But in a general sense, like, I could just continue working at every given moment, every given hour of every given day. Like, I am definitely workaholic. And I do think that watching the people here, seeing how they have moments where they do stop and moments where they do embrace being in company of other people, has helped me to kind of nurture that side of myself. So I do think that there is a huge period of kind of evolution that you go through when you move abroad, and kind of adapting your character and identity, but not at the expense of losing yourself. It is always a bit of a fine line that you have to be careful that you don't kind of go over, because you can take it to the extreme in the same way I did, where you don't even recognize who you're looking at in the mirror anymore. Whereas if you can get the balance just right, you are able to learn a lot and grow and evolve as a person from the culture and the people around you, but you are also able to hold on to your core beliefs, identity and values that make you you. I will see you in the next video.